it started as any other night. And I think that's the shame of it. It went from normality to abnormality just so quickly. And we just, when we started, we just set out to make a quiz. We just wanted to make people laugh. And then, looking back, now the 4 dead, and you just think, was it worth it?
Oh, she's dead. Oh my god.
Hello?
You've got to send somebody over here now. She's dead. She's
Whoa,
dead.
whoa, whoa, slow down. Speak clearly. What?
Okay, we're at the CBC studios.
Okay.
Listen, we found a body. You need to get somebody over here right now.
Alright, yeah, but
Come on.
what does that have to do with me?
You're the police.
Oh, you're right. Okay, yeah, will do. Oh, I'm always doing that. Sorry, sorry.
On July 6, 2020, the hostess of CoronaQuiz with Chris was found murdered on set. It capped a series of suspicious deaths that would lead to yet another. This is that story. Yeah, it had been a normal episode of CoronaQuiz. We'd gone through the classics. We'd done Atachu, we'd done Connecto, we'd done, one tune to the song of another, and honestly, everything was going really well. The previous 2 episodes had admittedly been marred by tragedy, but we felt good about this one, and so it was a real shock, I think, to everybody when that door slid back.
Here we go.
And Sandra had been stabbed with a ceremonial dagger.
Stabbed. She's been stabbed. Get it?
Guilt, shock, hungry. It was, Monday night, and I got to the studio late. I'd been held up with the work elsewhere. So I snuck in through the back entrance, which is, normally it's always closed, but on this particular day, the door was ajar, which is odd because normally it's a door. But and as I walked in, there was screaming everywhere, and there was a trail of bloody footprints leading from the studio through towards the emergency exit. And I remember, thinking, a bit odd. Sandra Ganges was the last of 3 sisters, all of whom had perished while working on CoronaQuiz. While the first 2 were chalked up to mysterious and tragic accidents, the fact she was stabbed made people think this was weirder, maybe even a murder. So it was, I think we'd just come back from hiatus. I had faked my own death to dismantle a cabal in collaboration with Her Majesty the Queen. And I can't remember if it was me or if it was the producer who said, well, we need a bit of glamour here, a bit of eye candy for the men, because obviously it's catered for the ladies. And so we put out an open call, and we were very lucky, actually, that the very first person who walked in was Tiffany. Tiffany was an angel. I think that's probably the best way to put it. She lit up the room. People really wanted to win the prize, not just because it was a fantastic prize that they all are on the show. And I think what really compelled people was that sense of innocence that she had, which is why it was a real shame that she died. So the following week, in tribute, we got her sister Candy in. Candy was her older sister, although people thought that she was the younger one, which, you won't have to look at her. She was gorgeous. She was, heads turned. It was like Margot Robbie and Hayley Atwell had a baby, and that baby had had another baby with, I don't know, Jennifer Lopez and Jennifer Aniston. This was a hot baby. Unfortunately, that time as well, somebody we know not who had placed a toaster on the side of the hot tub, and Candy was found smoking in, not like, but like in the hot tub, and the toaster had fallen in and she had died. It was another tragic accident, and the police just said, just leave it. So we wanted to pay tribute to the two sisters, and what we ended up doing was getting their other sister and third and final sister, Sandra. She was difficult. Yeah, she wasn't like the others. She was difficult. And I think that it was that third death that really made us go, yeah, this is suspicious now. This isn't just a series of accidents. This is murder. Yo, what's going on? Oh, that's not good. That's not good either. Okay, I'll fix this. But so the question is, question number 1. True or false, there is such a thing as the Tiffany problem, where when people are trying to write historical fiction, they can't use the name Tiffany, even though it is unbelievably ancient. It's an old Greek name, because it sounds unrealistic to people's ears because they think it's more modern. So true or false, there is such a thing as the Tiffany problem. We'll go through all these in a bit, and I'll try not to be in front of a brick wall in the foreseeable future. Case came over radio, and they said there's been a woman found dead, white woman found dead down at CBC offices, and I thought, TV station. They normally got good buffets on, so hopped in the old Panda wagon and drove down. And when I arrived at scene, there were chaos. There were all sorts of people all over the place, and I really had to push through the crowds to get to that buffet table, but I did it in the end. Question number 2. How many pandas are left in the wild? How many pandas are left in... Oh, there we go. How many pandas are left in the... No, not in the wild, sorry, in the world. We'll go over these again in a bit. Question number 2. How... Oh, you are in for a shock, my friend. You are in for a shock. So question number 2, how many pandas are left in the world? One of the first things you got to do at scene of a crime is establish a timeline. So what I did was I got one of my WPCs to come in, and I said, right, start at the beginning, go around and get everyone to tell you exactly what they were doing tonight. Unfortunately, said WPC was a biblical literalist, fundamental Christian. And so when I said begin at the beginning, unfortunately, it did lead to a contraction of useful information at other end of graph. Once we've done that, sorry, I've got a burp. But while reviewing the footage, Detective Sharp made a startling realization. Question number 3. According to the Bible, who was the longest living man? According to the Bible, who was the oldest man who ever lived? 76% of all crimes nowadays are made into true crime series. So wouldn't it be interesting if the host, Chris Sutcliffe, were in fact the killer? Yes, you. Yeah, I didn't think it were particularly likely, but wouldn't it be interesting? No, I completely agree. I would have suspected myself as well. I think that looking back on it, I had made a couple of threats of murder and retaliation to various people around the set. I think at one point I threatened to kill everybody and their families, which was meant as a joke. It wasn't meant as a joke. I meant it. I did mean it at the time, but I was under significant stress. They had no Snickers in the cafeteria. Question number 4. In which decade was the Snickers confectionery bar introduced? In which decade was the Snickers introduced? But as it turned out, somebody had seen a suspicious figure leaving. It were one of the younger grips, and they said, well, they look like Obi-Wan Kenobi, which set us off. Anyway, we couldn't remember what Obi-Wan Kenobi looked like. So immediately we ran out, we got A New Hope, we got Empire Strikes Back, and we got Return of the Jedi. And we watched all of them in one sitting. Unfortunately, it turned out that the grip actually meant Obi-Wan Kenobi from prequel trilogy. So we ran out and we got Phantom Menace, we got Attack of the Clones, and we got Revenge of the Sith, just so we had a good idea in mind of what this Obi-Wan Kenobi might look like. Yo, so name either actor who played Obi-Wan Kenobi. So in the cinematic Star Wars universe, name either actor who played Obi-Wan Kenobi. You only get 1 point for this, but you get it if you get either of those answers. Then for completion's sake, we thought, well, let's watch the more recent trilogy as well. So we watched A New Hope. No, we watched Force Awakens. We watched The Last Jedi, and we watched Rise of Skywalker. Obi-Wan Kenobi doesn't appear in those except as a voice, but it felt like it helped our investigation. We also watched Rogue One and Solo. And ultimately, by that time, having watched all 11 movies, the perpetrator had got away. Or hadn't they? Suspicion fell upon Little Chris, a recently hired continuity announcer who was known to have had relationships with each and every one of the deceased. I think he'd applied a couple of weeks prior, and we'd done the interview process, probably in retrospect not as thoroughly as we could have done, but I remember even then thinking he's I can't remember the word. He's like dodgy as a 5-door Ferrari. You'd buy his house, but you wouldn't look after his gerbil. He's probably he's got a collection of rare pogs. If you know what I mean. Driven too few times around the M25. He's bent as assisting Chapel. He's a lampwick on a Navy cruiser. He's assistant to Mr. Hanks. You wouldn't trust him as far as you can blow him. He wouldn't bitch the pot, but he'd drink the tea. He's Future Games. He's Bear Trees. He's Mr. Wonderful. He's Tango in the Night. He's Tusk. He's suspicious. That's what I was looking for. He was suspicious right from the off. Little Chris, real name Jimmy the Dick McVitie, had in fact been let go early that previous evening after antagonizing the host of CoronaQuiz. He had gone to ground and hadn't been seen leaving the premises by anybody prior to the murder. However, CCTV footage did show that he had been at least present in the room when this was going on. However, there was no sign of little Chris at the scene of the murder itself, and ultimately Detective Sharp was forced to make a harrowing decision. After almost 15 minutes of detector eyes in, it were effectively considered that case were closed. We weren't going to get any further with limited information available. We chalked it up as a tragic accident, but part of me wonders if this couldn't be work of Zodiac Killer based on certain similarities in their MO. What would those similarities be? Well, they both kill people. And once it had been determined that Little Chris was, in fact, the culprit, we hired a specialist to track him down. And we'll continue with our true crime story of the CoronaQuiz killings in a bit. But what we want is our phone banks are open. If you have any information about what could be going on, if you've got any suspicions about who might have done it, please do let us know, because it could help close the book on these harrowing crimes. Welcome to CoronaQuiz. I'm Chris Sutcliffe. Tonight, you are playing for a CoronaQuiz mug. Now, I know that a couple of our contestants have already received theirs in the post, so do remember that people are drinking out of these, and nobody has died yet. So you can tell that they're good mugs. What I want you to do is be strict in your answers. Mark your own. And hang on. And send your answers through to me via text. This is very bright. Send your answers to me through text, or via, I don't know, the comments down wherever they are, or via social media. I'm at Chris M. Sutcliffe. In the meantime, let's go over the answers to that first round again. I wrote them down in the wrong order, so just, I don't know. Question number, whatever it was. To the nearest 100, how many pandas are left in the world? To the nearest 100, how many pandas are left in the world? Another question. Name either actor to play Obi-Wan Kenobi. You can get a point if you get either of them right, but you cannot get 2 points for this. Question number 3. In which decade was Snickers introduced? In which decade was the Snickers bar introduced? Send the scores through. Send the scores through, Phil, and also ask it in the chat so everyone can see. True or false? There is such a thing as the Tiffany problem, where authors cannot use names like Tiffany, even though they are incredibly ancient, because they sound too modern. True or false? The Tiffany problem. It's called the Tiffany problem. True or false? It's called the Tiffany problem. And question number whatever. According to the Bible, who was the longest living man? Who was the oldest man ever? Sorry, I'm being told that we have information coming through from one of our viewers. So let's take a look, because this might help crack the case.
What up, gang? Have you guys been watching CoronaQuiz with Chris? Because I've got a theory about these murders. I think Tiffany is alive, and I think she faked her own death to get Crystal and Sandra. That's my theory. That's my hunch. Let's find out. Am I right?
Thank you for that. That's good information, and we'll have to see as we go. Remember, our phone banks are open, so please do send any information through. We just want to give the incredibly ancient mother of those 3 women closure. It's tragic. Now on to the Connecto round. Okay, so you know the rules. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you 5 questions, and there is a link between. There's an attachment or a connection between all of these questions. So what I want you to do is, as you go along, think about what the possible connection could be, because if you get it, you double your points for this round only. Stop talking about hair in the chat. You double your points for this round only. So let's begin. Connecto round. Question number 6. What's the common term? No, wrong one. Who sang Single Ladies? Who sang Single Ladies? The hit song, great choreography. Who sang Single Ladies? Question number 7. What's the common term for fibrous tissue that replaces normal skin after an injury? So what's the common term for fibrous tissue that replaces normal skin after an injury? Why is this so bright? That's insane. Okay. Question number 8. Who played the title character in the 1972 film Malcolm X? He played him in another movie as well. And he's best known for his distinctive basso profundo voice. Nolly, I apologise for pronouncing that incorrectly. I apologise for that. Question number 9. Who composed Candle in the Wind? Who composed Candle in the Wind? And question number 10. Oh, wait, did we do that one already? I think we've done them all. I think I got the numbers wrong. Okay, Let's just run through those. Let's rattle through those one more time. Remember, think about those connections. So, who sang Single Ladies? Who sang Single Ladies? All the single ladies. 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 What's the common term for fibrous tissue that replaces normal skin after an injury? Who composed Candle in the Wind? I'm doing these in whatever order this week. Everything's out. We're trying to catch a killer. Everything's off the grill. Who played the title character in the 1972 film, I think that's a 2, Malcolm X, and is best known for his distinctive basso profundo voice? And who composed Candle? Oh, and which animal's collective noun is a pride? Which animal's collective noun is a pride? So let's rattle through those again, and then we'll do the answers straight away. So, for the nearest 100, how many? You've got this, in fact. Why are we bothering? So what we're going to do is let's watch that guess again and think about who this could be, and then we'll do the answers. Please do, if you have any clues, send them through. We just want to... Why does that keep happening?
What up, gang? Have you guys been watching CoronaQuiz with Chris? Because I've got a theory about these murders. I think Tiffany is alive, and I think she faked her own death to get Crystal and Sandra. That's my theory. That's my hunch. Let's find out. Am I right?
Thank you for that. That's great. Okay, those answers. So, to the nearest 100, how many pandas, how many panda bears are left in the world? I've been confusing world and wild, so nobody gets a... No, if you get this right, you get a point. Well, that's 1,900 or 1,900. Fewer than you think. They won't breed. They just won't breed. Question number 2, name either actor to play Obi-Wan Kenobi. Well, Ewan McGregor or Alec Guinness. Alec Guinness, you can get 1 point for that question if you get either of them right. Question number 3. What does to the nearest 100 mean to you? Because it's not that. You cannot get a point for that. I'm sorry, thank you for sending in that thing. In which decade was the Snickers introduced? That was the 1930s. In fact, it was... I said to the nearest 100, it was actually 1863. 1863. Which decade was the Snickers introduced? 1930. The 1930s. True or false, there is such a thing as the Tiffany problem? That's true. That's true. Let's not explain that again. According to the Bible, who was the longest living man? Who was the oldest ever man? Well, that was Methuselah. He lived to 1969. No. Who's Quizmaster? I think you did it. I'm going to call the police and I'm going to have them come around and I'm going to arrest you. I'm going to have them arrest you for this. He does, Baven. He's known for it. So that was Methuselah. He lived to 969. So that connecto. Let's go through them. Who sang Single Ladies? All the single ladies. 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 The single ladies. That was Beyonce. What's the common term for fibrous tissue that replaces normal skin after an injury? That's a scar. Who composed Candle in the Wind? That's Elton John. Which animal's collective noun is a pride? This one's a big giveaway, actually. Well, that's a lion. If you got that one, you probably got the connector. And who played the title character in the 1972 film Malcolm X and is known for his distinctive basso profundo voice? Well, that's James Earl Jones. And obviously, if you got any of those right, I think you probably got the connection, which is telephones. The correct answer for the connection is telephones. Let's go through how we got to that. So, who sang Single Ladies? Well, that was Beyonce. But if you remember, the song goes, if you liked it, you should have put a ring on it. What? What's the common term for ring like a phone? What's the common term for fibrous tissue that replaces normal skin after an injury? Well, that is a scar. Scar is an anagram of cars. Cars, car phone. Who composed Candle in the Wind? That was Elton John. Elton is famously Cockney rhyming slang for, it's Belton, as in give me a belt. And so that's phones again. What animal's collective noun is a pride? Well, that's a lion. If you want to have, if you want to be able to call people, you need a phone lion. And who played the title character in the 1972 film Malcolm X? Well, that was James Earl Jones. His best-known role, of course, in fact, we mentioned it slightly earlier, is Darth Vader. Darth Vader, as in the Vodafone. Okay, so please do top those answers up, and don't send them through to me yet. Just mark yourself, be strict, and send through any clues you have about who you think might have committed this murder. Let's get back to it. The siren call of the sweet mystery. She calls to Sparrow. She sets his little lion cogs astir. And this particular mystery, 3 beautiful young fillies, shot down in their prime or stabbed or whatever. It makes one wonder, what evil lurks in the heart of man? Would that Bexhill were here to explore this mystery with me. Unfortunately, he is elsewhere, being a ghost. Yes, crying shame, actually, as I was about to get my V-card stamped. Husband just came back and he found me in bed with his wife and overreacted and shot through the heart, and you're to blame. No, a bit of a cad, if you ask me. Oh, it's fine. Ghosts have been shown to exist in the CoronaQuiz universe, so really nothing's changed. I assist Sparrow on his adventures. I, go through walls. I listen in on people. If anything, it's an asset. I think that many people would watch, a 30-minute long program of a Christie-style detective and his ghost friend. I think that people would watch that maybe 8:30 p.m. on a Friday night on ITV, Sky Atlantic. Yes, I think that maybe somebody should probably commission somebody to make that. The producers of the hit television show CoronaQuiz with Chris rang me and said, well, the police are crap. Why don't you take a go at it, Monsieur Poir Sparrow? And I wasn't doing anything, and I said, oui, vraiment. The mystery has many singular qualities which appeal to Monsieur Sparrow. For example, the killings took place within a sealed room with very few exits or entrances. A look at the blueprints of the studio revealed only one other entrance into the room, a tiny pipe used for opium smoke, which only a tiny person or that guy from X-Files who can stretch could get through. Alors, we are left with the one unmistakable conclusion. The killer was un petit Chris. In fact, many members of the public had already guessed at this eventuality.
This is Lothair Road South, and we think the killer
is little Chris.
That was very cute.
But how to track him? There is no way of I found him, Sparrow. He's in a pub that's usually reserved for mice. Oh, vraiment? Bonne chance. But how to ferret him out of this little watering hole. Ah, I think I have an idea. I will call upon a petit ami of my own, or Monsieur Moonflare. Monsieur Moonflare? Ah, bonjour, Monsieur Moonflare. Yeah, what's up? A matter has arisen which needs your particular talents. Will you go and rabbit out?
Okay, I mean, what's
potential killer from a little bar for me?
No, if people think he killed somebody, then no, I'm not going to do it.
Me. But would you do it for a devil treat?
No. I'll do it for money. If you've got money, I might do it.
So mercenary. Would you do it for, say,
100.
No, 75 francs.
All right, 75. 75.
Bonne chance. And, Moonflare, take this gun.
Mr. Chris, you've got to come with me. No, don't. No. I don't want any trouble. Listen, I'm a wage slave like you. Let's just. Hey, ow! No! Don't do that. Oh, no! Stop it! Stop! Go! Look, this isn't how we're supposed to. We're both adults coming up. Ow! Come on! Don't do that. Listen. I'm armed. Listen, this is a final warning. I'll do it. Okay, well. Look, there. You were resisting citizen's arrest. I guess that's what happened. But you were. God. Something to note. James Earl Jones narrated that documentary. You may have Denzel Washington as well, who did apparently play that. Wikipedia let me down. What can we say? You can have either Denzel or you can have James Earl Jones. The important thing is that the connection was valid. It was very valid. So please do just take a second. I think we need the killer has been brought to justice by a cartoon. So let's do the final round. Shall we? And it is our famous Faffily Fortunes round. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read out a question which we asked to 100 people, and what I want you to do is give me one of the top 5 answers to this. Unfortunately, why is that so bright? If you get the top answer, oh, that's nice. Oh, it's compensating. Oh, it's the computer doing it. Okay, never mind. If you do get the top answer, so the most common answer given by the 100 people who answered the question, you do not get the point for this round, but you'll get a point for any of the other 4. So try to think what's a common answer, but not the most common answer to this question. That's a good way of explaining it. I did that right. Okay, so we asked 100 women. We asked 100 women. Name something you do within an engagement ring if your fiancé called it off. So a bit of a callback to Beyonce. That was deliberate. Name something you do with an engagement ring if your fiancé called it off. Remember, there are 5 top answers to this. You can have any except the most common answer. The next question. Name a book you go to for answers. So name a book you go to for answers. Which book do you go to? None of you better say Harry Potter, by the way. Do you remember a couple of weeks ago I said there's a £20 bounty on any original ideas that are found within the Harry Potter series, and not one of you could find one. Not one of you could send one through to me. There are no original ideas in there. That's too dark. This isn't a bit either. Okay. Name something you don't want to find in restaurant food. Name something you don't want to find in restaurant food. Name an animal with spots. Name an animal with spots. Remember, you can have... There are 5 top answers. You don't want the most common one. You don't want the one that 100 people, that the majority of the 100 people said. Just go back to the explanation I gave before. Okay, and name something you might see a firefighter carry. Name something you might see a firefighter carry. Okay, we'll rattle through those one more time, and then we'll do the answers. We asked 100 women. Name something you do with an engagement ring if your fiancé called it off. Name a book you go to for answers. Name something you don't want to find in your food if you go to a restaurant. Name something you don't want to find in your food if you go to a restaurant. Name an animal with spots. Name an animal with spots. And name something you might see a firefighter carry. Name something you might see a firefighter carry. I need to give you maybe like 30 seconds just to think about those. I think you'll all appreciate that. So let's do this. We've had some breaking news from Greg. Ari the Murder. Has anybody checked out the 70s stand-up comic from a few episodes back? There seemed to be something a little off about him. Well, you weren't wrong. Let's do the answers to that, right? So, we asked 100 women. If your fiancé called it off, what would you do with the engagement ring? You can have any of these answers apart from the top one, so we'll do it in reverse order, and I'll tell you which one you can't have. Toss it, you can have. Make new jewelry, you can have. Give it back, you can have. Keep it / wear it, you can have. Sell it, you cannot have. Do not give yourself a point if you got sell it. Name a book you go to for answers. You can have. An almanac. You can have an almanac. A cookbook you may have. The Bible you can have. An encyclopedia you can have. You cannot have dictionary. No dictionary. Name something you don't want to find in restaurant food. You can have dirt, a rat, a cockroach, a fly. You cannot have a hair. You may not have a hair. That's H-A-I-R. That's H-A-I-R. Name an animal with spots. You can have giraffe, cheetah. You can have what? Tiger? Okay, well, people are idiots, it turns out. Dalmatian, you can have. You cannot have a leopard. You cannot have a leopard. Who says tiger? That's insane to me. All right. And name something you might see a firefighter carry. Nolly guessed Ewan McGragg's for the Obi-Wan question. You might see a firefighter carry an oxygen tank, for which you may have a point. A victim? You can have that. What a weird way of phrasing that. A ladder, you can have. An axe, you can have. You may not have a hose. A hose. So what I want you to do is top those scores. Be strict. Be strict. Be strict. I'm taking Freddie did well. Oh, happy birthday for yesterday, for 2 days ago, brother. So, you've had all the answers now, but we need to find answers of our own. So what I want you to do is send through your total points to me either in the chat, by text, or at Chris M. Sutcliffe on Twitter. In the meantime, what we're going to do is catch up with Sparrow for the denouement and hopefully some answers. Ultimately, we'll always find the answers. I should have queued this up 1 second. Okay. Quelque chose. And now, j'arrive à... Nous arrivons. And now, nous arrivons à le dénouement. I'm sure each of you out there in the real world is wondering, well, Monsieur Sparrow, can you wrap this mystery up in a bow for us? No. Guten Abend. Shall we begin by identifying the killer? Well, as no doubt many of you have surmised, it was none other than Monsieur Moonflare. But, I mean, you told me, you instigated it, you told me to do it. Indeed, the only killing that took place was that of an innocent little man, un petit Chris. Oh, vraiment, he was abrasive and he rubbed people up the wrong way. But he was an ex-felon who was just trying to make his way in the world. He did not kill these women, he loved these women. He was killed by those of you at home who could not give a man who was different than yourselves a different chance. You should be ashamed of yourselves. You are the real killers. And when Monsieur Moonflare took up the gun and shot Monsieur Petit Chris Petit, in the heart or whatever. I haven't done the graphics for that bit yet. That was the only premeditated killing. Alors, bake him away, toys. It's tricky. I mean, what can you take away? It was senseless. It was senseless. My takeaway would be that things need to make sense. Honestly, I think the reality is that if you do take a job in TV these days, that you will get stabbed. Your guess is as good as mine, pal. They solved it. We've got one show left of the series, and I think we're going to try to make it as respectful as possible while also maintaining that sort of anarchic attitude, which has really served us well. So yeah, I'd urge everybody to tune in next week for the series finale. Is that all right? Okay. You're going to remember to put the big cock bit. So there we go. A heartbreaking conclusion to a little angel's life. So I suppose ultimately the only real answer we need is that we need to take care of one another. You know, I think that it's easy to forget that people, no matter how different they are from ourselves, no matter how small, no matter how diminutive, even if they're, I don't know, cartoons, or they were initially a little joke about continuity announcers made up on the fly by somebody who was desperate for, I don't know, something to do for his quiz one week. We're all people. We're all people. Anyway, the winners. We've not had that many people submit scores, which suggests to me that you're all embarrassed. But the winners this week, we have joint winners. And it is the Palgrave Elliots and Natalie Kerno. Well done to both of you. You're having your... what? Oh, that's close. That's close. It was 12. They got 12. So, congratulations to you. You're going to have a mug sent through to you. And that's the end of our show. Wab wab.